From the city of barbecue, fountains, and jazz. Now and always looking out for you. You're watching Eye to IKC.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us here on the new Eye to IKC on our special Choice 2020 after the election special. Yes, we did take a while. And this election cycle has been one of the craziest that I've ever covered in my years of being on YouTube. This is one of the craziest ones, and I'll explain a little bit later if I have time. But let's jump right on in terms of the percentage. Let's look at the presidency and the Senate and the House makeup, and then we'll get to the local stuff a little bit later on in our show. But first, I want to take your attention to the presidential results. Joe Biden taking 290 and it's 270 to win, and it was around Saturday on the 8th, on the 7th, excuse me, on November 7th, that Joe Biden was declared the next president, the 46th president of the United States. Donald Trump has 214. And of course, you know, it's very predictable and very, how can I put this, honorable of him to not concede. And he doesn't have to concede, let's just be honest. But anyhow, just to reiterate with you, Joe Biden has 290, and this is coming from the Associated Press. And it's 270 of the electoral vote that he would need to take the White House. And of course, Joe Biden takes it home at 290, and Donald Trump at 214. All right, and taking a look at the Senate. Right now, the Senate makeup, there's 51 votes that is needed for majority, just to let you know ahead of time. There are 2 votes that are needed. I mean, no, not 2 votes. There are 51 electoral votes that is needed for the majority. And right now, for the Senate, I hope I didn't say the House, but the Senate, this is how tired I am. Excuse me. The Republican Party has 48 votes, and the Democratic Party has 46 votes. And it is important to note that in the state of Georgia, it has been declared a runoff election in the state there. And I thought there was another one, but I don't have... and there's 2 votes for 2 other parties. I think an independent candidate, excuse me, and a libertarian candidate. We'll get into that later on. Coming from the Associated Press, the Associated Press has called 31 of the 35 seats up for grabs in this election. All right, now going on into the House. This is the House now. The House right now is at, once again, just to reiterate with you, for the House majority, it is 218 needed. And the Democratic Party seems to be, is leaning that the Democratic Party will hold on to the House. It is at 215, while the Republican Party rather is at 196. So that is all Galvin has. That's all he's writing today on this. But I want people to understand the severity of not voting. I want people to understand the severity of not voting, the severity of not understanding what's being asked of you on the ballot, the language that is being written out in these ballot measures and these question ones and amendment ones and etc. These things are detrimental on how we're going to be told to do something, or to be paid, or how much more taxes are we going to pay, or how much more, how they're going to spend our tax money, and the positioning of the tax money and things, and how we're being governed. So please understand and realize that Galvin isn't here to bust your bubble. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to tell you that please pay attention. Please pay attention to what's going on. Please pay attention to what's happening in your communities, in your neighborhoods, in your backyards, in your next door neighbors. Please pay attention to these things, because the stuff that a lot of y'all sit here and say your votes don't matter. Well, your votes matter right in your own community. You're voting for representation directly here at home, and it does start local. You got your neighborhood association, and that's the smallest stuff. Then you have your aldermans and your committee men and committee women here in Kansas City and in Jackson County. Some of you might have your aldermans and your townsmen and townswomen in different places. But here in Jackson County, Missouri, we have committee men and committee women. But even below Jackson County, I'm going to get to the city level. We have our mayor, we have our city council members. Then we move up from the city, the local municipalities of our mayor and city council people. Then we move up from the Jackson County people to the county level, should I say? I can't get my words out today. To the county level, and in the county level we have the Jackson County executive, and we voted on this election cycle a sheriff, Jackson County sheriff. And we move from the county level to the state level, and we're voting for, in the state level, our governor, lieutenant governor here in Missouri, and just trying to figure out different things on the state level, and then it goes to the national level. And of course, with this national level, we're electing our national local folks to go to the national level. And some of these local folks have had a track record down at the state level or at the city level. And I'll get to that specific comment here in just a minute. Yes, I've poked around that, so pay attention. This is a pop quiz. No, I'm just kidding. But anyhow, this was an election that was definitely an eye-opener for some. Not an eye-opener for me, because I knew that people just didn't give a damn. I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm not sugarcoating it. People just don't give a damn about their representation. And one thing I want to say, and I'll say it again a little bit later, but people, think for your damn selves. Stop looking for answers to be coming from me and people who do what we do, like me. Please stop looking for answers. Look it up your damn selves. And the reason why I say this is because I might look something up, and it might have a different change here in the next couple of weeks. Then you want to call crying. Look it up yourselves. You got a smartphone, for heaven's sakes. You got a smartphone. You do have a right to look some of this stuff up for yourselves. I don't know how else to tell you. Look the shit up yourselves, okay? Look it up. Do you know how we got the election results from the House and the Senate? Smack dab in the middle, right here, on this damn phone. You can look it up. Those who have Google, you can look the stuff up. And I don't know why y'all want to sit up here and want to play crazy, but that's on you. It ain't on dear Galvin, okay? So, don't depend on a quote-unquote cheat sheet like this. Stop using these. Look up who you're voting for and their track record. You, as a voter, can look up their track record. You, as a voter, can look up what they have voted for or against. And if it's something that is very detrimental to my safety or your safety or your family's safety or my family's safety, I'm going to look it up. You have an option to look it up. You have an option to do a bit more digging and research. When you go for a job, do you not think they don't look up your background check? But do the same for your candidates. I'm not telling you who to vote for, and this is what this is. It's telling you who to vote for. I'm not going to do that for you. And I don't condone what this organization is doing, so I'm tearing the little fuckers up. Excuse my French. I'm not throwing it because I'm not cleaning it up. But anyway, I am going to tell you, do your homework. Do your own homework. Do your own homework. Do your own research. Do your own background check on these candidates that you're voting for from here on out. And stop looking for the big presidential election to make an excuse to vote. You need to be voting when it's your mayor. You need to be voting when there's Proposition A, and I'm just making this up. This ain't no real proposition. And the proposition might be we're going to collect 25% tax dollars to go to getting rid of stripper joints or widening the roads or whatever the case may be. You need to pay attention to the you really need to pay attention on how the ballot has been written. And with that being said, we'll be right back here on Eye to Eye KC, and I'll go over some of the metro area.
There is a gap between what is needed and what needs are met. When you partner with Liberty Bank, you empower more people to achieve more freedom. You're also investing in a bank that is a proven leader and has impacted those who usually don't have access to fair interest rates, new opportunities, and quality financial products. For Liberty Bank, this is bigger than banking. This is what happens when money and mission meet. Bank with us. Together, we can make a difference. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here. Member FDIC.
Welcome back here on Eye to Eye KC on the Choice 2020 after the election special, and we have some of the results at the bottom of your screen. It is very important to note that we don't have Kansas votes in, so we're going to start on that now. And speaking of Kansas, we're going to take our eyes towards the United States Senate with the tight race over in Kansas with Democratic candidate Barbara Boyer, and both doctors, by the way, and the Republican candidate Roger Marshall taking it home at 53%, while Boyer took a 42% of the vote, but Marshall won that race. Taking a look at the United States, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Taking a look here at the United States, this is one of the two big races too in Kansas. Taking a look at the United States House of Representatives, District 2 in Kansas, Michelle de la Isla took the 41% majority of that vote there, but Jake LaTurner won the vote, and he's the Republican candidate, Michelle de la Isla being the Democratic candidate. Jake LaTurner took a 55% of that vote. And turning our eyes to the United States House of Representatives District 3 with Sharice Davids and Amanda Atkins. Sharice Davids took it home with a 53% vote, and Atkins took it home with a 45% vote. Now, let's turn our eyes to the Missouri side of things. And let's see here. I'm waiting on my computer. All right. With the U.S. Representative District here in Missouri, in District 4, Vicky Hartzler took it home with a 67.60% vote. Nearly 68% vote. Excuse me. Let's see. District 5 took it home with Kansas City's very own former mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, Emmanuel Cleaver II, Emmanuel Cleaver II, took it home with a nearly 60% lead of that vote, and 55% of that vote there. And Ryan Dirks took it, had the vote of 38.73% of that vote. 74 He rounded up to 74% of that vote. All right, taking a look at the U.S. representative race in the District 6, Sam Graves took took majority of that vote, and he wins that race as well. Another Republican, this Republican here wins the race, and it wasn't even close. It was near close, but not even close. Sam Graves took it home with a 67.11% of that vote. So almost 70% of that vote there. And that's all we have for the major state representative races. I mean, not state representative. The U.S. representative races, the state senators races in Kansas and Missouri for right now. But I'm going to take a break, and we'll be right back with the local versions, the candidates in Jackson County, and we'll be back with the issues from Jackson County, and of course Missouri ballot issues as well. Stay with us. Missouri, I'm going to go ahead and go with Missouri for this. We're not doing Kansas candidates, okay? But right now in Missouri, Mike Parson took home. Has a second term with almost 60% of the vote, with 57.17% of the vote. 57.17% of that vote. And Nicole Galloway, who was, I believe, the state treasurer, either the state treasurer, to come think of it, the state treasurer, or the not secretary of state, state treasurer, excuse me. Stand corrected. She took it at 40%, 40.6, almost 40.60% of that vote. And Lieutenant Governor in Missouri, Mike Cano, took it home with almost 60% of that vote as well for Lieutenant Governor. And of course, remember earlier in the show when I talked about Kansas City connections? Well, Lisa Kennedy, who was the former city council member for the Kansas City, Missouri City Council, well, she ran for the Lieutenant Governor's position, and she had the 38.71% vote. Taking a look at Secretary of State, I'm getting ahead of myself. Secretary of State John J. Ashcroft is going to stay in his position at 60.60% of the vote. Almost 60.60% of that vote. But he won. Yinka Fiati, if hopefully I've pronounced the man's name right, 36.28% of that vote. Excuse me. State Treasurer Scott Fitzpatrick took it home, another Republican, almost at 60% of the vote. Attorney General Eric Schmidt has the same vote as well, almost the same vote, almost 60% of the vote. All right, and let's take a look at this now. I believe this is coming from St. Louis, in St. Louis area. Cori Bush took almost 80% of that, nearly 80% of the vote, at 70.75% of the vote. And let's take a look at some of the issues, and then I want to get to one segment here on the program, and I want to see what time do we got on the thing here. I ain't trying to, okay, we got a little bit of time here. and then I'm going to go to commercial here. And what we're going to do, if I can pull the questions up. Okay. Constitutional Amendment 1 took a no vote at 51.97% of the vote. Constitutional Amendment number 3, and I won't have time to go over these, what they were all about. We'll have to do it on the next show, possibly. I'm going to lean to possibly, because we got a lot of stuff to cover on the next show. Constitutional Amendment number 3 at 51.017% of the vote, yes vote, for Constitutional Amendment number 3. Now let's take a look at Jackson County. I believe this, no. Well, what happened to Jackson County stuff? Darn it. Jackson County. Alright. Give me just a second, ladies and gentlemen. What the heck happened to our stuff? Lecture. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Locally, let's get this here. Okay, Jackson County question 1 took, and I do believe one of these is the question for the removal of the Andrew Jackson statue, if my memory serves me correct. Like I said, I'm not into this election cycle. So Jackson County question 1 took a yes vote at 51.37. And let's take a look at question 2 in Jackson County question 2 with a no vote, and I think this is the Andrew Jackson one. Question number 2, 72.17% of that no vote there for question 2. And right, real quickly here in Jackson County, let's see. All right, Jackson County prosecuting attorney. Let's see here. I don't have my glasses. Tracy Chappell has 52.6% of the vote. Let's see. Daryl Forte, and I think that might be a. We had to look at this again. We'll come back on the next show and see if we have it incorrect here. Daryl Forte has, of course, is going to be the next sheriff here in Jackson County, Missouri. So there's no new change there. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Price Chopper.
As a family-owned business, Price Chopper knows just how important saving money is to your family. We're always chopping prices, so you can feed your family for less.
Democrats are spending millions
When it comes to
in our
Missouri's
Republican
kids,
primary.
Mike Parson
Dr. Roger
can't
Marshall
be
stands
trusted.
strongly
Governor
for
Mike
President
Parson
Trump.
is pushing for kids to go back to school even if they get sick.
I'm Barbara Bollier, and I approve this message. She says she's
Before Roger Marshall became a politician, he was a big healthcare executive. Now in Washington, he
Why are we talking about campaign ads? Because they have words that you've heard all election season all before the elections, with radical, liberal, conservative, and these are phrases. But when you ask people what the hell are these phrases are, and you look in the dictionary about these phrases in terminology, that you describe one candidate over another and vice versa, you hear it on one side versus another. Take an example of this. With these campaign ads, they are pretty much telling you how to vote, not necessarily what they're going to do for you. And with that being said, with the campaign ads that we saw this election cycle, what I said earlier rings true to now. Do your homework. And these phrases these words and phrases like a radical and extreme left and the right and this and that and liberal and centrist and this, these are all terms to describe people. Just break it down to you. These are adjectives to describe people, to get you riled up, to get you to vote a certain way versus another. And here in Missouri, you got the red wave here in Missouri and also in Kansas as well. Fortunately, people aren't paying attention, or they're not wanting to pay attention. I'd like to say this last of the second there. It's time for people to understand that this is new times. In politics, you know, the Trump wave of doing things has married on into different avenues of our election process in terms of calling people names, in terms of doing things. And you might have seen me early rip up the freedom ticket that they hand out, freedom ink cheat sheet. Well, this is what I think about all this, about these adjectives and words. They're not helpful. In a campaign ad, what I want you to do is tell me what you want me, I want you to tell me what you're going to do for me. And give me your resume. What did you do? If you have had a chair in public service, what have you done lately? What have you done for dear old Jackson County lately? What have you done for Kansas City lately? What have you done for Missouri lately? What have you done for Johnson County? What have you done for Douglas County? What have you done for any other county? What have you done for Wichita? What have you done for Overland Park? What have you done? I want to know what you have specifically done in the areas of economics, in the areas of social justice or social injustice. I want to know what crime bills or what bills have you voted for that might hinder people like myself that are black. I want to know what it is that you are going to do for me. And list specific examples. In a 30-second ad, I think that is somewhat doable. Now, you can't list everything, but maybe in a series of 30-second to 10-second ads, you could say, here's what I'm willing to do for you. I'm willing to fight crime, and here's how. We're going to start increasing crime patrols across the city. We're going to start increasing. That's a tangible example that I think people can listen to and say, okay, and have something to back it up with House bill. And sometimes you see these in these campaign ads, House bills. Go look it up. Read the bill for yourself, so that way when you get ready to meet the candidate in person, maybe not now, but in the past you was able to meet candidates and test them on their own resume, on their own crime bill, on their own piece of legislation. Test them. And before we get out of here, because I can't see Jack Crab today, it is important to note that the well-known game show host Alex Trebek has died at the age of 80. He has hosted Jeopardy for about over 30 years. And right now they don't know what they're going to do for Jeopardy, but if we know anything and if we hear anything, we will be sure to let you know. And that is going to wrap it up for us here on Eye to Eye. He is definitely going to be, Miss Alex Trebek was definitely one of the last broadcasters in this of his generation. And of course, we'll wrap it up here on Eye to Eye KC. I hope you get registered to vote. If you haven't already, please get registered to vote. And it's not just about the presidential elections that you're voting for. It is more for the local level of your mayor, city council people, your county legislature, and executives, and sheriffs. Please get registered to vote, and please get ready to be informed and not be reactive, but be proactive. All right, so thank you for joining us here on the Choice 2020 after the election special. We'll see you on the next regular edition of Eye to Eye KC. Have a good one. Bye-bye.